The story starts here, in the heart of the city.
We continue to follow the ongoing developments.
The student group is the first to take on such a project.
Everyone is waiting for a vote on the bill.
The team is winning at a record-breaking pace.
It's an issue for residents here and around Boston.
The story is coming up on Suffolk U News.
Hello and welcome to this edition of Suffolk U News, the weekly news program brought to you by the Department of Communication and Journalism at Suffolk University. I'm Dan McCarthy from New Milford, Connecticut.
And I'm Jessica Bard from Harleysville, Pennsylvania. We're happy to be coming to you from our studio in downtown Boston, courtesy of your cable company and on the internet.
We begin with our first piece of coverage for the 2014 Boston Marathon. With this year's marathon now less than 2 months away, hotels in and around the city are almost full.
According to the Boston Globe, there will be 9,000 more runners this year. In addition to the increase in runners, interest from families, fans, and the media is also expected to be high, putting even more strain on hotels.
Suffolk U News reporter Katie Shambo tells us how hotels around Boston are accommodating these faster than ever bookings.
On your mark, get set, book your hotel. Rooms are filling up faster than ever for this year's Boston Marathon. According to the Massachusetts Lodging Association, Boston and Cambridge hotels are completely booked for the race, and rooms outside those two cities are going fast. But I found out that wasn't exactly the case. General manager of the Wyndam Hotel in Beacon Hill said it's always a busy time on their calendar, but when asked if they were full,
we aren't, but we are very close. That weekend, we are probably sitting at about 85 to 90% full right now.
That wasn't the same situation a short jog down the street at the Boxer Hotel.
We are for the Sunday night right before the marathon.
Vanessa Vitale said it's the fastest they have ever booked, and most hotels' booking windows have doubled.
Generally, it'll be about 60 days out. We're really seeing 90 to 120-day production early on.
Marathon Tours and Travel of Charlestown has also sold out its blocks of rooms at 45 hotels in the area. I checked to see if that was true myself. When entering the days before and after the race, no luck. According to the Boston Globe, 36,000 runners are expected to compete in the April 21st race, including 4,500 who ran last year but couldn't finish due to the tragic explosions. It's an event that people just want to be a part of.
The Boston Athletic Association is just embracing the event and welcoming people back. So there are so many people that are coming for the event this year that, it's booking quickly.
It's the Super Bowl of marathons, and this year especially, people want to be included in the Boston Strong spirit. Katie Shambo, Suffolk U News.
If you still need to book a room for that weekend, you are not out of luck. Boston hotels are helping refer guests to other hotels nearby, but you should act quickly.
The medical marijuana business planning to open in Boston's Back Bay is in even more hot water. The proposed dispensary located on Boylston St may be too close to a church's children's program. Marijuana shop Good Chemistry is less than 300 feet away from the program near the public garden. State rules limit dispensaries from being within 500 feet of a school or a place where children congregate. The Department of Public Health will be meeting with all currently approved registered marijuana dispensaries in March to review their operational plans.
It's called the snow-related expenses budget because once it's set, it's not supposed to budge. But this year, that's just not realistic. The large amounts of ice and snow this winter have the Massachusetts Department of Transportation asking lawmakers to fork over some major cash to close the budget gap. At the beginning of the month, the state was already nearly $20 million over the estimated $40 million budget, and we are still expecting more storms to come.
But when you look at like the last 5 years, 80 million on average is what we're spending each winter to clear snow and ice. This year, our last tally was 75 million, but we have certainly gone above that.
LaVoy says she is sure the legislature will cover the tab. The only question is when. Services will still continue to operate as usual, but the people who provide those services may have to wait a few months to see their checks.
The Olympic Games in Sochi might be over, but not for everyone.
Let's have a look at what the athletes are bringing home.
Our Suffolk U News reporter Diana Novakovic joins us here in the studio. So Diana, now that the Olympics are over, can you give us an overview?
So Jessica and Dan, you will be surprised what some athletes might bring back from Sochi. During the closing Olympic ceremony, Russia poked fun at its opening ceremony mistake, in which one of the 5 Olympic rings failed to form, leaving 4 rings and a snowflake. Suffolk University Professor Jim Nelson teaches a course on sport and the Olympics, touches on why the closing ceremonies were both successful and unique.
It was a great touch. Whoever the artistic director was played on it, not as a fault, but as a unique aspect of these Olympic Games. And rather than being something that was a glitch, they turned into a hallmark.
Nelson believes because Russia was so successful in hosting the Winter Olympics, the country will now be looked at in a more favorable light. The US team is not only bringing back home medals, but dogs too. The slope skiing silver medalist Gus Kenworthy and other American Olympians are working to adopt stray dogs. Kenworthy has even postponed his return home in order to get the paperwork necessary to allow him to adopt stray puppies. Russian billionaire Oleg Deripaskaya and Kenworthy are working to get the puppies on a plane to the US this week. The host nation Russia ended the Games with 33 medals. 13 of those medals are gold and help put that nation in the top spot in the final medal count. The US team made the podium 28 times, 9 of them in the gold spot, finishing second in the total medal count. Norway is third in the ranking with 26, 11 of them gold.
So Diana, we know you're from Switzerland, a huge fan of bobsled. How did your team do?
So the Switzerland won 11 medals and 5 of them were won by women. So it's a great source of inspiration.
All right, girl power.
Yes.
Now that the Olympics in Sochi are officially over, the world is now looking forward to the 2016 Games in Rio de Janeiro.
As future host cities come into the spotlight, the question arises, could Boston host an Olympic Games?
Suffolk U News reporter Dan Lamparello tells us that question is easier to ask than to answer.
As the Winter Olympics in Sochi come to a close, Olympic-sized conversations are just starting up here at home. Boston could be in the running for either the 2024 Summer or 2026 Winter Games. Kathy Maloney has been to 7 Olympic Games and believes it would put Boston back in the world's view.
It would get the world looking at Boston again. It would give a tremendous amount of opportunity for people to travel here.
The committee looking into the 2024 bid includes some of the area's most powerful business leaders, including Suffolk Construction Chairman John Fish. The group also recruited former Massachusetts Governor Mitt Romney, who ran the 2002 Salt Lake City Games. Olympic gold medalist Mike Eruzione is mostly concerned about the costs associated with hosting the Games.
It's really incredible how much money it costs to put on an Olympic Games, and you never make money. I think Mitt Romney said it a while ago when they were talking about Massachusetts. He said, it's great to have an Olympic Games, but you really can't make any money doing it.
Though Boston is packed with athletic venues that could potentially host events, there are still questions about whether or not the hub's transportation infrastructure could handle the massive crowds that come with the Games.
Our T would have to get an upgrade, but our T could use an upgrade.
Besides Boston, Los Angeles, Dallas, and San Francisco have all expressed interest in hosting. Whichever city gets the opportunity to go for gold will have to compete with cities around the world for the honor. Dan Lamparello, Suffolk U News.
Bidding for the 2024 Games will begin next year.
The winning Olympic bid will be announced in 2017. Get this, half-price hot dogs, for real.
We'll tell you where in just minutes.
And we'll take you to an event where hot dog calories are burned off thanks to celebrity choreographers. Who is this famous groovin guy? Suffolk Scene is coming up next.
You know what, guys? There's a lot of tree branches and dry brush over here. We should probably move the bonfire over there.
I'm guessing Smokey liked that idea.
If you drive buzzed, it could cost you around $10,000. You'll face major legal fees, major fines, and steep insurance penalties. You could lose everything. Buzzed, busted, and broke, because buzz driving is drunk driving.
Look, he's blushing. Seriously.
The Olympics are over, the snow is still here.
But fear not, there's still plenty to do around town in the name of fun and art.
Suffolk U News reporter Jessica Nappi joins us here in the studio. So now that the Olympics are over, what are we going to do?
Don't worry, there's still plenty to do, and I got you covered first with dancing. Flashdance, the musical, is celebrating its 30th anniversary in what better place than Boston. On its national tour, the cast of Flashdance will strut its stuff at Emerson Colonial Theater, March 11th through the 23rd. Prepare for an emotional roller coaster of romance and dream chasing. You could always watch Flashdance the movie, but seeing it live? Oh, what a feeling. To buy tickets, go to boston.broadway.com. Again, that website is boston.broadway.com. If Flashdance doesn't get you in the mood to move, then the Pulse certainly will. The Pulse is an internationally toured dance convention that is run by choreographers in the entertainment industry. That's including choreographers that have worked with the likes of Britney Spears and Beyonce. That's right, Beyonce. More than 1,000 dancers attended the Pulse convention held here in Boston that attracted Glee's head choreographer and many others.
And 1, 2, 3, 4.
The top choreographers in the industry like Brooke Lipton and Chris Judd command your attention on the dance floor at the one, the only, the Pulse Tour, a dance convention people travel far and wide to attend.
It's like a 3-hour drive. We came up yesterday.
For some, it's all in good fun, but for others, it's an opportunity to be scouted by America's Got Talent, win scholarship money, and dancing awards like Little Sydney Jack.
I won my solo performance at Camp Pulse.
Choreographer Lipton teaches girls like Sydney at the Pulse convention, but she is better known from working with household names like Britney Spears.
Dancing with Britney was a lifetime experience that kind of changed all these outlooks on things, and being on a stage and getting to travel the world.
And the late Corey Monteith on the set of Glee.
It's not something that goes away. You know, every time you walk onto that set, I don't know if I don't say Corey's name, like it's brought up every day. And brought it up in a good way.
With that positive outlook, Brooke knows that teaching, even amateurs like me, is her true passion as she continues on tour with the Pulse.
Pulse to me is one of the biggest amazing workshops that is out there, because it's not, I wouldn't call it a typical convention. We're not there about judging and costumes and big awards and all this thing.
The Pulse will be back in Boston next year on its 15th annual tour. It isn't exactly March Madness, but a school tournament is taking over Boston starting next month. But instead of slam dunks, it's for slam poetry. The Poetry Out Loud competition is in the semifinals, a field of more than 24,000 high school students down to 74. Boston's semifinal round takes place at Calder Road Pavilion on Tremont Street on March 1st. Those winners will take on winners from Framingham, Springfield, and Cape Cod for the state crown on March 9th at the Old South Meeting House. All of the events are free to attend. Now, that poetry contest seems pretty impressive, but I know you want to ask me about the Pulse and see my dance moves, and before you ask, I'm not going to show you.
Maybe after the show.
Maybe.
Right, I'll take it. The city's South End is well and widely known for its fine restaurants, but South E has some good spots to eat too. And one of them is already open for the summer season.
Yes, you heard her correctly, the summer season. Sullivan's is selling great eats down on Castle Island in Southie a week ahead of its 2014 schedule. Workers report a great opening weekend down by the water at the end of Day Boulevard.
Sullivan's now open 7 days a week. Hot dogs half price through Sunday, March 2nd.
That's making me hungry. That does it for this edition of Suffolk U News, the weekly news program brought to you by the Department of Communication and Journalism at Suffolk University. I'm Dan McCarthy.
And I'm Jessica Bard. Thank you for watching us here on the Boston Neighborhood Network or on the internet.
Be sure to continue to watch for Suffolk U News, bringing you more from the school at the heart.
In the heart of the city. Goodbye.